Hello friends on YouTube. So we are going to be doing a Historic Brawl challenge today where we try to get 5 wins before we get 5 losses with a Historic Brawl deck. Today we're going to be using Athreos, the Shroud-Veiled, who his ability, he's one of the god creatures, so he's indestructible, but he's not actually a creature unless you hit his devotion, which in his case is 7 in white and black. And at the end of every end step you put a coin counter on one of the creatures on the battlefield, and then if that creature dies or is exiled while Athreos is on the board, you get it back under your control, regardless of whose creature it is. So it's a pretty fun ability, especially for a white-black commander. So a lot of removal, a lot of decent creatures to put coin counters on, and a fairly large amount of board wipes as well, because this deck is fine with just clearing the board multiple times, even if it's with its own creatures. Especially if I can get coin counters on things, because then it's usually a benefit, because I play a lot of creatures that enter the battlefield and give me some sort of benefit. So let's see if we can get 5 wins before we get 5 losses here. Against a Lurrus deck. So I expect that'll be a pretty aggro deck, which usually my deck does well against. This hand isn't exactly amazing, but if I can draw 1 land we'll be okay, so let's go for it. I do have a card draw card, so it's an extra chance to get to a land. Shieldred should be good if we can get land. Yeah, land is good. Nothing to kill on my opponent's board yet, but we got plenty of that once he starts playing creatures. And we'll do our best to make sure Lurrus stays off the board, because we don't want to get too much value out of that. That's good. Don't think I want to kill the Spirit Companion just yet, but I think I'd rather get the Shieldred down. This will probably just eat removal from my opponent, but that's okay. Our main goal here is to try and get to 6 lands so that we can play Athreos. Surprisingly, at least we got a clue token out of it, so not the worst removal. It's an interesting draw. I was going to use Skyclave Apparition to kill the Swiftfoot Boots. But I don't really care about the Swiftfoot Boots yet because I have a Soul Shatter, which will kill his Lurrus anyways. So now that I drew the Steel Seraph, I think I'll do that instead. And then we'll have mana left over to sacrifice for our clue token, which is good too. And I'll keep open Deadly Dispute in case of a removal spell with that. But if we don't have any Deadly Dispute, I can just sack the clue at his end step. Hopefully we won't have to sacrifice the Deadly Dispute. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have to Steel Seraph. Alright, Lurrus is fine. course, with Swiftfoot Boots doesn't matter right now. I like that card. Land is good. I don't think I'm going to drop the Athreos just yet. I think I want to save my Soul Shatter to kill Valorous. I'd rather wait until my opponent's turn, end step or something, because I don't want to give him the opportunity to just cast it again next turn. So I basically have 3 mana free that I can cast without, and still be able to hold up mana for Soul Shatter. I'm thinking about the Skyclave. Just hitting that Swiftfoot Boots anyway, because it's going to be a problem later. Cool. Might as well give him, I guess, lifelink at this point. I don't really want to save him the blocks. So might as well get some life points. Not that I expect that to matter too much, but you know. And now we still have our Soul Shatter mana up, so... And I know he's not going to play anything that has more than 2 casting costs on permanents, because... Wait, no, Lurrus was his commander, right? So never mind, he could actually ignore that. That's just, if he hasn't his companion. Yeah, that's fine. I could still Soul Shatter in response if he played something bigger, but he didn't yet. Well, now that he can't recast his Lurrus, I'll just do this in response. Oh, he had an answer for that too. At least he comes back tapped, so it's fine. Oh, that's not bad. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think this is a fine Wrath of God. Opponent only has 2 cards or 3 cards left in his hand. Though I'm also tempted to just play Athreos right now. I think that's better. I can take the, what, 5, 6 damage, whatever it is. Hope my opponent just fills the board with more creatures. Doesn't have a way to kill Athreos, plus it puts counter on this. And we'll also get the Spirited Companion back over here. Let's go. So, hopefully my opponent gets greedy and puts another card on the board into the rest of this Wrath of God. It doesn't have a lot of power anyways, so... It does nothing. Well, that's definitely good for us. Because now I think I'm still not going to Wrath of God, since my opponent decided not to put anything else on the board. I don't really feel compelled to do that. So I think I'm going to play this Night Twilight Athreos counter on it, potentially. And if my opponent does have an instant speed removal, I can do Wrath of God later, so... I'm not going to do it unless I have to. We also have D-Spark up, which is nice, and this, which I can use if I need to. Chances are I'll end up needing a Deadly Dispute is my expectation here. Hopefully I don't, though. Cool if he didn't have it. Alright, we're in very good shape now. I don't wanna... This costs 2. I guess I can't D-Spark it. But if that's all my opponent did for his whole turn, really that's nothing, so I'm doing fine. Alright, so we'll swing. Now I'll Wrath of God. Since he won't have anything to equip this to, he'll still have a 3-1, but I don't really care about that. And there's a good chance we'll draw another board up at some point. We have a lot of them in this deck. And I get my guy right back too, so it works out fine. We're also going to Bajuka Bog him. If my opponent decides to leave his Slurus in the graveyard. Kind of funny. Oh, I have to put it in the command zone now. Yep, I'm going to put this on the spot now. And if he decides he wants to block with this 3-1 menace, I have no problem trading his Spirit Companion for it. That's a double block. Destroy all creatures, but I'm going to get my Twilight Prophet back again. Only has 2 mana left. I think I'm going to use the Deadly Dispute on Spirit Companion. Since it's dying anyway, I think we'll get a couple of cards out of it. That was a good draws. So that was pretty much a waste of a board wipe for my opponent, at least. What's this one? Each creature exiles a card from their hand. Okay, sure. If he kills it. Each one exiles a card, just a card from my hand. Okay. Don't think I need the Godless Shrine. I don't know what the hell my opponent was doing there, but it was definitely not a winning line. I think he finally realized it. Okay, game 1 is a win. Very good. Good start. But Athreos is pretty strong, this version of it. And, beats many deck types on average, except for heavy control decks with blue in them. Pretty much any combination of blue and something else that's like really devoted to a control deck, this deck has a lot of trouble with. But other than that, I feel like this deck has a pretty good shot against most other deck types. This hand is okay. Got 2 board wipes, but only 2 mana. If I get 1 more land, I get Ramp Spell. I have this for 2 mana. Against a Marwyn deck. Okay, I guess this isn't a real game. I did not want to play. But to be fair, Marwyn was going to have a very hard time beating me unless I got Mana Screw, basically. This deck is best against decks like that, like heavy creature decks like that. Which is most decks in Brawl. Kalia, okay. It's another one that we should be pretty favored against, probably. As long as we don't get Mana Screwed or anything like usual. This hand isn't amazing or anything, but we're up against a pretty slow deck for the most part, so I'll keep this hand. It's reasonable. We just need to draw a white mana to be able to pretty much cast our whole hand, or I guess any land, so we can play him. Get our white mana. But there's a pretty high likelihood we'll draw at least one. Okay, another no match. No one wants to play against Athreos today. Definitely kind of weird. 2 in a row. But hey, what can you do? Some people are just pussies. It's definitely the one downside about Historic Brawl is that there's no consequence for just leaving, so people do that a lot. Can't even say I've never done it when I'm like in a bad mood or I know it's a terrible matchup or something. When there are certain decks I'll just auto-concede to as well. Like I hated playing against Turgid, so I generally just won't. For example. Joyba is fine. Can be pretty annoying, but not nearly as strong as the paper version of it can be. I think this is what the Weatherlight Captain is the one that draws you cards when you play historic spells. Yeah. So you can't play like the Cheerios version on this really. There just aren't enough 0-drops. I got no white mana at all, but I do have a Woe Strider. I think I don't like this hand. I'm going to mulligan it. Especially against a Joyride deck, I want more removal. This hand isn't necessarily better, but it's not worse either. I'll go with it. I hate going down a card, so I'll take a mediocre hand and take a chance over taking a less card. Plays his Ornithopter before his Joyride. That's a little weird. You'd think you'd want to play that after you get your commander down to get a free draw from it. Especially if he's not doing anything with it. I thought maybe he was going to equip it or something, but nope, I guess not. Would have at least made sense. Oh, that's the schematic one too. I love the schematic ones. And we're way back in Antiquities. There was a few cards that were actually made just like that had like the schematics on the card. Kind of a cool throwback that a lot of people didn't even know was a throwback. I'll just do this and see if he has a bolt effect. Yeah. That means I can get Athreos next turn potentially. That would be pretty nice. I'm surprised he didn't do anything. He didn't play his commander last turn. Oh, it's 4. Why did I think it was 3? That makes sense. Alright, so we're free to play our Athreos now, which is nice. Even though we missed a land drop, which is not nice. At least the Palladium Mirror helps. Just a Karn, okay. I tried playing this guy with a few different artifact decks, and it's just been so weak. I ended up cutting him out of all of them. I'm surprised people are still trying to play him. He's really quite bad. So what do I want to start with? I mean, the Karn is definitely not great, but I still don't want him getting an alt. That would still be annoying. I don't think I want to board wipe yet, though. There is a temptation to do that in a way. Wait, this can kill his Planeswalker, too. Do I have the mana to do both? I don't think I do. I need... I was thinking this and this, but I'd need 3 black symbols. Unfortunately, I don't have 3 black symbols right now. Alright, I guess the Shield's Edict can worry. I mean, I'm not worried about him ulting just yet. I don't care if he gets another Power Stone token that much. So I'm going to play this first and just put some threats on the board. It's tapped. And we'll still force him to block with his Ornithopter if he wants to keep the 2 damage off the throne. And my opponent's going to have trouble killing those creatures, because red-blue is going to be a very difficult time getting rid of Athreos without him being a creature. It's fine. Doesn't really do much. Ooh, Elvish Norn. That'll be good at some point. Thinking about using this Edict to just kill my opponent's commander. Although I should just probably kill... Oh, it's our choice. Could also Diabolic Intent or something. Probably better off killing one of those Planeswalkers. Wonder which one he'll decide. I think we're going to see which one he decides before making other decisions. Okay. That was probably the correct one for him to kill. I think I am just going to swing out at the Ugin here. I don't really need the Paladin, there's mana, and neither of these will stay dead, so this guy's a menace. I guess he didn't realize that. It's fine. So Palladium Near comes back, not for a counter on again. I think I'm going to wait on this Diabolic Intent. I'm not even sure what I want with it yet. I'm really hoping to still draw a little more land. I do have to admit, if this game goes for too long, it's probably bad for us, because that's how blue decks beat us. If the game goes to a really big game, we kind of run out of gas, and the counter spells just finish us off, basically. Because we can't do anything about counter spells, really. Oh, and it's a Athreos statue. Okay. Well, that's one of those cards that makes me just not want to play the game, so I'm just going to go. I don't care, I'll take the loss. I'd rather just save my sanity instead of playing against a card like that that's really lame. Definitely takes a special kind of piece of shit human to play that kind of card. Especially in a format that's just for fun. It's like a person playing a Tyr deck. You just have to be like a special kind of like fucked up mind to play that in this kind of format. But I play this for fun, and cards like that just And for those of you who don't know what that artifact does, that's so annoying, is it makes all of your spells cost 2 more mana to play. So I just don't feel like playing through that. I'd rather just go on to a new game. Vika. Another Izzet deck. Well, Izzet is definitely not our strongest matchup, and this hand is bad, so let's see more than that. This hand looks okay. At least the commander is a 7-drop, so I don't have to worry about that coming up right away. It's really gonna... Sure, buddy, you do you. I think that was a real waste of a Fading Hope, so I'm really glad he did that. That could have been really annoying later for us. Bounce spells are one of the few things that really gets around Athreos' point counters. Glad he wasted one of them. My opponent is just like throwing away all his removal spells without even understanding or thinking about what he's doing, so that's definitely going to be good for us in the long term. Just can tell by the way he's playing, he's not really thinking things through at all. See how he missed a land drop here, but I probably wouldn't have slammed Athreos with my opponent with all that mana looking for you, right? Let's see if this baits out a counterspell, and if it doesn't, I like it on the board, so it's fine either way. My opponent definitely doesn't think things through very much, so he's just going to do it. That's fine. Of all the things he could have countered with that, that is the one I would rather recounter than anything else. The card is... Actually, it's a card I'm considering cutting out of the deck. Sometimes it's fun, but most of the time it's actually bad. Does a memory deluge on his own turn. Yeah, because he just threw all his stuff away and ran out of gas. So at least my opponent is a bad player. We have that going for us, but bad players can still win. I mean, luck is a huge factor. So. But if he keeps playing this way, it is unlikely that he's going to win. Well, at least now my opponent basically tapped out. Yeah, unless he has like wash away exactly. Alright. Now we're in pretty good. This is one of my best creatures in the deck with this particular deck. Because when he dies, I get to exile a permanent, and if he comes right back with him, then you get to exile multiple permanents very often. And if I get a sack outlet, it's even better. Arcana Justice is probably my favorite creature in this particular deck. Works really well. I can just tell by the speed my opponent is playing, he's not trying to think things through at all. He's just go, 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 and that's not a good way to play. Not with a deck like that. He's clearly not thinking things through at all. And then he attacks into a board that's just going to kill his creature. Okay. Sure, you do you, man. Yeah. Oops, that's what you get for not thinking. But I guess thinking is hard for some people. I don't like to do this. Okay, this is commander with no backup or protection at all. So that's going to be easy for us to kill. Yeah, I think we have enough life. I can do this to draw a card and use 3. Polish and orange, cool. I don't think I'm going to need this blood money, the way this game is going. So I think I'm going to, since there's nothing else for me to kill, I would like to use the bone shards to sacrifice my Archon and kill like 2 things, but no, I'm not going to do that. We'll kill that. We'll discard this blood money. And we should be in pretty good shape to win this. Can't think of too much in a green or a blue-red deck that would be able to really do much here. I mean, Rivers of Butte might be about the only thing without only just like buying a turn or 2, which wouldn't really be a big deal. Chaos Warp, his own land, okay. Looking for... just got the same land back. I guess it was a good game. Someone played really bad. We didn't really even have that good a draw. I was actually pretty worried at the beginning of that game that we were going to lose to an Wicked deck. But when your opponent doesn't know what they're doing, that definitely helps a lot. And even with the cards that I saw he had there, I think he could have had a chance to win that game if he had played better, made better decisions. Especially wasting that Fading Hope was a huge mistake, and I don't think he probably never even realized, it probably still doesn't realize how big a mistake that was. But, you know, to be honest, I would much rather play against opponents that actually play good and have a real game than just destroy someone who's new at the game, doesn't know what they're doing. So I wish their matching system was able to match that up better. But there's so many problems with the matching system and the algorithms in this game. And this hand seems okay. Keep it. Especially against a Balmor deck. This is what, 3rd Izzet deck in a row? A lot of Izzet tonight. But I don't like that because Izzet is usually good against me, although Balmor is not a very good one. As far as Izzet commanders go, might be the weakest one. one of the weakest ones. Which, I mean, isn't to say it can't win, but its odds of winning against a deck like mine are lower because it's a much more creature-heavy deck than most Izzet decks are, the good ones anyway. Heck are these sleeves? I've never seen these sleeves before. Extra Life 2020. Okay, where the hell that came from. By myself exactly what it is. Okay. That's pretty weak. It's down one. And I play, I'm just going to play this thing. Hope he doesn't have a way to counter it, you know. Since that's our only current black source. We're going to need that. Heck, was that spell that cost 3? Oh, game's done. Sure. Kind of strange time to use that card, wasn't it? Since my opponent only has 1 mana open, I think I'm going to risk doing the board wipe here. Just keep my opponent, like, keep his commander off the board. And I guess he only has 2 mana open. Yeah, I think I'm still going to do this and just see if it works out, and if it doesn't, it's not that big a deal. Still get a counterspell out of his hand, I'm kind of fine with it either way. Oh, and it gives me a bird. That's cool. Best possible result then, as far as countering it goes. Definitely glad to get the Swan Song out of the way now. Okay. Alright, let's start with Triumphant Adventurer, see if he has another counterspell, and then I will play the Inspiring Overseer afterwards, probably either way. I'm definitely not going to just go for Athreos right now. I'm pretty sure my opponent's holding up a counterspell. It looks like it. Let's just get a couple of bodies out. Alright, so he is holding up a counterspell. He doesn't want to use it on these guys, which is really good for us. Nice taps. Costs 3 now. Thinking about holding this up to kill his Balmor if he attacks with it again. Then I would have 3 more mana I can cast things with. Definitely still want to wait on the Athreos. Doesn't seem like he has a counterspell, but he still could. And I think I would rather wait until maybe next turn or the turn after. We'll see. I'm going to do this just to either bait out a counterspell or kill one of his creatures. Ornithopter, I'm guessing. Sacrifice a non-token creature. mines with this deck. Do I want more land? Probably do. Yeah, I'll keep that on top. And now we're going ahead of my opponent on damage as well. Yeah, I think I'm still going to save this Aganjo. Or maybe even the Soul Shatter, depends on what goes on this turn. Okay, just an impulse. But if he like taps out and pumps this guy up a whole bunch, I might just Shatter Soul it. We'll see. Although it only pumps his power, right? So I'm better off doing this because he can't counter it. Without a very specific type of counter anyways, like a Tail's End or a Stifle or something that is unlikely that he has in the deck. He doesn't do anything else. Let's kill it. I don't think he has the mana to play it again right now. So. Can't counter a channel with a normal counter spell. Sure. That's fine. Definitely don't mind him wasting a flame there. Just for 2 damage, that was kind of strong. So opponent only has 1 mana, so it's unlikely to be able to counter my Athreos here. So let's finally get this down. Now if we get any treasure, let's go with the Goblin. Now we're in pretty commanding lead right now. Especially with the coin counter going on my creatures, so even my opponent comes up with some removal, it's not going to be keeping it off the board unless it's bounce. Which at this point, bouncing a 2-drop or a 3-drop doesn't bother me. He's just digging. What did he discard? Increasing Vengeance. It does seem like a very strange Balmor deck though, because most of the Balmor decks I've seen that have any chance to win are like creature swarm decks, so that his ability pumps a bunch of guys. If you're just trying to make it so your commander can kill people, that's going to really be hard. Since he's only a 1/3 and only pumps 1 per spell. That seems like that's how his deck is going. Which explains why he really hasn't done anything all game at all. Has some sort of instant apparently. I'm just going to put the counter on my Goblin token just to spread the damage out. And if he does have some sort of burn spell, I would rather he didn't have a better target. But I really don't even need to play anything else. Opponent's the one that's in a position where he has to do something. This stuff will eventually kill him. And I'm in no rush with this deck, so... I do think I'm going to play the Twilight Prophet. I don't really have to, but I think I'm going to. More for fun than anything. This thing never auto-taps. In my life. It's a good buddy. Two-out trick me. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna get something good out of this. Nice. Oh, I just clicked decline by accident. Well, it didn't matter anyway. kind of strange how the UI works with things like that. So many other things, it just gives you the two choices right there of like do it or don't do it. And in that one, it's like you either click the card to do it or you click the decline to not do it. I just like auto-clicked the thing thinking it was to do it. Didn't end up mattering, of course. But... Tybalt Trickery is kind of a weird one to play in a blue deck where you can play like every better counterspell in the game and Tybalt's Trickery. Tybalt's Trickery is like a meme card. That Balmor deck was definitely on the weaker side for even a Balmor deck, which is weak to begin with. But that was a win. Almost don't want to count it, but it technically was a game. Matchups have been just weird tonight. Definitely an extraordinary amount of is-it matchups. Shieldred. Well, very beatable, but very annoying. At least it's not as annoying as like a Turgid deck, but I think if I wasn't doing my Brawl challenge here, I'd have probably just skipped this one and moved on to another game, but I'll play it out. And this is a decent hand. Of course, he's playing with hand destruction. What a loser. It's my Dark Ritual. Okay. Well, that shows how much of a scumbag he is. But he's playing a Shieldred deck, so, you know, kind of goes with the territory. Definitely not a deck that I would call fun in any way. Except for human garbage. I guess they find it fun. I am surprised he didn't hit my Swords of Plowshares, though. I'm actually glad he hit the Dark Ritual instead of that. Now I at least have an answer to Shieldred immediately. Don't care about his life total at all. His life total is pretty irrelevant this game. I don't know if I want to cast it right now, though. I gotta think about that, because if my opponent does top deck more hand destruction, he'll just get rid of what I got. 2 or 4, probably. I don't even know what I want exactly. Kind of need mana, so I might even just go get a ramp spell. And hope my opponent doesn't have a... So I think I'm going to get the key. Mono black deck will have trouble getting the key off the board if it does land. So. Should be good. None of these cards are particularly good. Don't really care about Regrowth. I definitely don't care about Claim. Frozen Grip, I mean, I'll probably find some value out of, but I already have Skyclave for the Underworld Dreams. I guess it wouldn't hurt to have a second option, but I think I'm just going to discard whatever I grab here. I'm just going to grab the Crow's Grip and just discard the Crow's Grip. Who cares? I don't think I'm going to need it that badly. I think I like everything else in my hand a little more. I'm going to discard him on that piece. Just keep the Shieldred off the board, and it's usually pretty easy to beat. And this deck is pretty good at doing that. And since I don't really have anything much else to do, I think I'm just going to Apparition the Underworld Dreams now. So I don't really care if he gets a 3/3 if he uses up another removal spell here. And if he doesn't have a removal spell, then putting a coin token with Athreos on the Skyclave is nice. Ooh, he had to use Feed the Swarm, so he's pretty low on removal then if he had to waste that. That's really good. I wonder what the heck he's hanging on to if it's not better removal than Feed the Swarm. Card draw. So he's waiting for Shield Red to be on the board before he did it, probably. Makes sense why he would hang on to that. Alright, so now we'll just drop the Athreos, and I'll get stuff down later. I don't really care about this 3/3 at the moment. Fine counter doesn't do anything, but there is no nay about it. Immortal Sun. I have one of those in this deck too. Well, it's not ideal. I'm actually thinking about just playing this Realm Cloak Giant as a 7/7 right now. And then we get a coin counter on it immediately. Have a good blocker and a good attacker. That will be very hard for my opponent to kill. I have a Wrath of God for a board wipe, so I don't really need the board wipe part of it. And then next turn I can start the beatdown with the Realm Cloak Giant and the Cave of the Frost Dragon. Let's do this first real quick. So I'll get a white since I have so many white cards in hand, but I don't think it really matters. Just play this for the guy. Make him hard to kill, especially for mono black. And mono black is going to have a lot of trouble against Athreos. They don't have a lot of ways to make me get rid of an indestructible enchantment, and very few ways to get around these coin counters, if any. I do want to kill that Immortal Sun though, just so my opponent doesn't draw 2 cards a turn. That could eventually make him outpace us on damage or something, but I have a lot of ways to remove that in the deck, so hopefully we'll draw one. Going for the double removal on it then, I'm guessing. Which is definitely good for us if we're making 2 for 1. Okay. I don't understand why he runs that card at all. I'm trying to understand why he cast that Murderous Rider or Swift End on my Realm Cloak Giant if he's not actually going to kill it. It's a little confusing. And a tutor for something? Well, that's good. I don't really care if he tutors. I don't care if he tutors again, too, because I'm probably going to use that to get something to get rid of Immortal Sun, which is far more of a concern than my opponent tutoring for 2 cards. There's just nothing in his deck I have to worry about, really. I'm assuming he's just getting a 2-mana removal spell for the Cloak Giant right now, which I don't really care about him either. So not only did he have to 2 for 1 it, but he actually had to use up his Witchclaw Talisman, too. Definitely good for us. Alright, so I'm probably going to Wrath this board as well as... Let me use this first, though. Let's see what I'm going to get. I'm definitely doing it, because I just don't care about giving my opponent a card. I don't think I want to do Farewell, as tempting as that is, but I can kill my own stuff, too. So now I want something cheap, because I'm going to be Wrath of Godding, so... What else do I have that can kill that artifact? I know I have stuff here. This kills an artifact, right? No, that's not the one that kills an artifact. Shit, did I not put that in here? I meant to. Oh, that's annoying. I have more artifact removal in this deck than I guess I do. That's right, this card, I keep meaning to pull this card out of the deck and put it in for the one that it attaches to like your land and exiles a creature or a planeswalker, I think. Wouldn't help me here anyways. Guess it's going to have to be the Bounty Agent, but chances are he's not going to survive. Guess it'll be Lauren. Yeah, that's right, Lauren's in the deck. She's good. Alright, do I have enough mana for both? I do. Alright, so let's do this. And getting a coin counter on Lauren will be nice too. deck. And I mean, we're definitely not out of the woods by any means. Shieldred's still a strong deck, even if the player isn't. Which, so far, I don't know. I haven't seen anything too impressive from the player on my opponent's side yet. Just a pretty typical, no-thought Shieldred deck so far. Nothing interesting or special. I was hoping he wouldn't use the Wishcall Talisman, and then I would have been able to deadly dispute my Lauren and kill it. But he used it, which is fine. But this also gives me some devotion, which is nice. Yeah, we draw. Okay, that's not exactly what I was hoping for. But at least that's something I can deadly dispute the token on. So you can draw something to get rid of Shieldred. I think that's more important than activating my caves. They're getting low on life, too. And we drew nothing. That's really unfortunate. So I guess we're going to lose. Definitely could have gone either way, but it didn't. And I assume my opponent voted for, like, that stupid peer into the best card or some bullshit like that to win with. Oops. Wow, so unique. So thought-provoking. This is why Shieldred is so lame. Just so linear and boring and just a trash deck. For trash people. But yeah, that's why normally I would just quit that game right away, because it's just not worth the fight. It's just so boring to play against. Like, there was nothing interesting in that game. It just, like, nearly put me to sleep. Just everything was so typical, boring, and the same as every other game you play against Shieldred. Ah, crap, I keep forgetting to switch this stupid card out. I was testing this card out and I decided I didn't like it, and keep forgetting to actually remove it for a card that I think is better. That's a good draw. Up against a Tulane deck. It's another one that's pretty lame. It's just a boring deck. I mean, it's not as degenerate as like Shieldred or Turgid or several other decks, but it's still pretty lame. It just creates very boring games, in my opinion. And we're probably going to have our time against a Tulane deck, most likely. Although Tulane decks are very creature-based, so we can definitely win against it more than against some other kinds of control decks, but it's going to be tough, and it's going to be boring. So those of you looking for quality content, I apologize. It's probably not going to be a quality game, that's for sure. Tulane never is. Yeah, I guess I'll keep this. Got plenty of land. More removal will be good, more spot removal. That's a card I would not expect to see in a Tulane deck. I guess I can understand it. It doesn't seem very good. I guess we'll do a little ramping and we'll also play the apparition to get rid of it, just so he doesn't have a blocker for my nadir. Or we can venture into the dungeon again. I want treasure. I don't really need treasure, I don't think. Yeah, I think I'd rather have more creatures against Chile. Alright, there's Trend. And I mean, we still have a chance here as long as my opponent doesn't have an absolute god draw. Let's see what happens. I think I am going to go for the counter and just get more damage in. It's here, so we can't just block it. I think I'm going to hit the Skyclave Apparition with the token, because my opponent may run a board wipe here. Just enough of Gargaroth, we're good. Not too concerned about that. Drawing some removal would have been nice though. I'm going to draw a card with this. I don't want to play my Palladium Mirror yet because I'm probably going to do a Day of Judgment relatively soon. It's definitely not going to be yet, but soon. What am I on this? If I do this, I just draw a card. I don't think I want to give up my Nadir to just draw a card. So we can hold up for now. And I'll hang my Athreos back so that his other Gargaroth doesn't have any incentive to attack. And if he does, we can double block and kill it, and we lose nothing, so that works out okay too. I mean, he might just bounce it, but then I don't lose anything either, so... He might draw a card or get a 3/3 beast or something. Okay, I'm fine with this result. No matter how it goes. We'll do this. He didn't even save it. Right, I may be setting up for a board wipe here, which is fine. Too bad Skyclave can't hit you lane. Wonder why he did that. Is he following up with the Wrath of God? Did you just forget that Skyclave doesn't hit you lane? Okay. Nice. Well, that's good for us. Oh, nice. That was weird play from my opponent. He's at 15, so if I attack with everything and he blocks my Skyclave and kills it, he still takes 12, 15 damage, so he's forced to block something big here. So he gets a draw card. Oh, that's right, and they're all going to get pumped from him too, so yeah, he's doomed. Unless he's got like Settle the Wreckage or something, that could be about it. Carriage protection, okay. That's fine. Rise my turn. Let's keep the Skyclave around. Over the Killian. Okay, that's not really a big deal. Unless he has 2 board wipes. I'll just do this again. I'll keep that. I'm just going to play it for the 2-1 card. Okay. So I guess my opponent might have a god draw here after all, which is unfortunate. Alright, so I'm going to play this for land. I think I'm going to do Agadeem's Awakening for 4, I think. This reduces the cost by 1. Really, all I have is one thing. Oh, that's right, that costs 6 technically, doesn't it? Alright, hold in, I'm going to cancel that. I'm just going to do it for 2, I guess. This will activate my Athreos, which is why it's worth doing. He's got another counterspell. Okay, just got a handful of counterspells. It's alright. Buys them only 1 turn. Make another go. Guy's definitely drawing the perfect possible draws, huh? Not drawing any of his actual creatures, just all the removal and all the counter spells. Doesn't really matter, but he keeps drawing it. Definitely gets annoying when an opponent just god draws you constantly. Just delays the inevitable at this point. Still have counter spells or what? Guess we'll play this big version now. Code. He's finally out of bullshit. Cool. Tulane definitely is a tough match, especially when they draw so well. But hey, we got through it. Still wonder if that would have been a different game, especially with the hand he apparently had, if he did not bounce his 2 lane where he didn't need to. That was definitely a weird play, and it probably changed a lot for him, but I don't know how much it might have changed. I'll keep this hand. It's not a super amazing hand, but I do have way in board in hand to kill this guy. I believe this will kill him, most likely. Which one will I play first? I guess I'll just play this. I think I'm going to want to use Planar Disruption on that Shadow Spear so we can't shut Indestructible off of my Athreos. Hey, I finally had a use out of this thing. It's still a bad card, but at least I had a use out of it. Oh, he's got to wait for the others. Doesn't matter. I don't really care about it that much. Oh, that was actually so freaking weird. Trouble controlling. Hopefully we can draw land, so we can actually cast these 5 drops in my hand. This is a strange attack. So he's almost certainly got some sort of pump spell in his hand if he's attacking like this, unless he's a complete moron, but I don't have any sense that he's a complete moron, so I'll just not block. Oh, he has like Snakeskin Veil, which gives it a +1/+1 or something like that. It's a commonly played card in mono. Yeah, alright. Let's see if my opponent has anything in their hand. Yeah, they had Snakeskin Veil, just like I thought. So all they have is Prey Upon and another pump spell. Okay, so he's playing a weird green, lots of bad spells deck. So that's good for us. Even though we didn't get to hit anything with that, I'm glad to see the hand. Next turn, this will let us go 2 different card in our deck, and then the third, we'll be able to get back a creature from the graveyard, so I'll be able to get back this Canker Bloom potentially. And then I can kill a Shadow Spear. There's the Throne. I gotta read this again. So he can't be countered, he's indestructible, he's trample. Can't be a target of non-green spells your opponents control or abilities from non-green sources your opponents control. He has indestructible. So this does not target him, so I can kill him with Grixis behind. Alright, so opponent does not have artifact removal in his hand. That's good to know as well. So I might be able to play this Gilded Lotus, although I probably just want to Grixis command this turn. So I drew a land, so I was thinking I might tutor for a land to get my 6th land for sure, but we'll just go get another board wipe instead. I really like this Archon. Although it's not as good against my opponent's commander that I can't target him with it. I might just get this Phyrexian Arena just to give me gas. Although in that case I might as well get actually, yeah, I'll get the Immortal Sun because my opponent's probably going to have some green commander or planeswalkers in there, and that'll shut those off too, which is nice. I only have the mana to play this and this in the same turn, but I don't. I'm mana short, but I do think I should do this. So we'll just blow up his board. I think I still want to get this Canker Bloom just so I can kill up that Spear. So I'll play that first. Maybe I'll just play the Athreos first. I think that's best. So that way we get the Canker Bloom back after we sacrifice it. Okay. So now I just need to start drawing some of my many board wipes that I have in the deck. But we have to do that before my opponent kills me, who's already got me at 15, so we do have a limited amount of time. It's bad these guys trample, or I could block and then sack, but that won't do anything, so we'll just take the damage. But we do have a lot of board wipes in this deck, so the chances of us drawing one in the next couple turns is very, very high. So I do have that going for us. I will destroy target artifact just to make sure that's dead. Now our Athreos is relatively safe. Well, that's not really what I wanted to draw. Well, I'm going to play this so we can draw cards next turn. Looks like my opponent has lethal in hand if I block the Oran Reef. If I block the other guy, he might still have lethal. It's 4, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I guess we're dead. How unfortunate. Guess I should have played the Esper Sentinel too, but Auto Tapper kind of screwed me. Always leaves that untapped for some reason. So I didn't have the option to play this. Should have played this first. If my opponent doesn't see it, I guess we're not dead, but he probably sees it, so we are dead here. What the hell's going on? Why didn't it let me block? Just didn't let me block for some reason? Okay. Every time I clicked on it to block, it tried to activate him and never gave me the chance to block, but we were dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. Always feels bad losing to a badly designed deck, though. But it happens. That is Magic, where you don't need skill to win. One of the things I both hate and love about the game at the same time. You can have no skill at all and still win games with just blind luck with a blindfold on, by just drawing the right cards at the right time. And your opponent just doesn't get good draws at all. Like, we got a way below average draw. My opponent got a pretty much just normal draw for that deck, I'm guessing. We just didn't draw any removal. Any board wipe removal. And there's like 15 board wipes in this deck, so it was unfortunate. This hand looks okay. We're up against a Professor Onyx deck. Well, hopefully he's not playing with all the little cheap black hand destruction cards. That just makes me hate the game when people do that in this format. Wellspring. Definitely not a card I would have expected to see out of a mono black deck. Well, this is probably going to die, but I don't care. It's not what I want right now. I want land. Which is the main reason I'm throwing this guy away. I just wanted the scry to hopefully try and get closer to land. Since we're on the verge of getting mana screwed here. The opponent didn't have removal for it, so good. We get another trigger off of that. Yeah, we drew a land, so that's good. It's really good. I think I'm going to take the treasure this time. That way I can get my Athreos down. Now Nadir is going to be hard to kill. Turns our chances of finishing the dungeon are even higher. Opponent did not have removal spell last turn, or chose not to play it if he did, which definitely punished him. And my opponent was just over it. Alright, well, that was a pretty anticlimactic 5th win, but it was a win. So yeah, Athreos completed the Brawl challenge with 5 and 3. So if you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe to the channel so that I'm encouraged to make more content like this. I still have a lot of decks to make these challenges with. And we're also going to be posting stuff about drafts and things like that as well. And I might even start playing some Standard again. But thanks for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.